Time for another As Told by Ginger video. Last time, we talked about neurodivergence in characters, detailing how the show can take a serious aspect and make it a bit easier for younger audiences to grasp. Now let's talk about a much more serious situation, so critical that Nick could not air it. I'm talking about episode 54, Lesson in Tightropes. As I may have mentioned, the latter half of season 3 of Ginger was not on Nick's primary channel at all, with the 3-part finale instead going straight to video in December 2004. It's my understanding that our episode in question was supposed to air around October of the same year, but things were so dark that Nick could not follow through, not to mention the overwhelmingly negative reception that the other episodes got. Though this darkness makes Lesson in Tightropes all the more fascinating to me. So let's begin. At the start of the story, Ginger is fantasizing herself walking in an empty school hallway and gives this ominous monologue.
Toadie's right. She deserves the truth. And she deserves it now. You can't go on misleading her like this.
We then turn to the present, where she is singing with her band, accompanied by her new friend Orion. And it is a pretty decent song, especially for one made by fictitious animated 14-year-olds.
When credits roll, I still can't leave the picture I hold in my heart.
However, Darren comes by and brings up the elephant in the room. He admits that their relationship isn't working and he's developed a stronger connection to Simone, saying that she actually cares about his football career and more.
Ginger, it's over.
What?
Us. We're over. There's someone else.
Simone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't do this! Darren, don't!
Ginger,
I can try harder. I won't miss a game. I'll be there in the stands cheering you on and...
You'll be miserable. Both of us will. It's not who you are.
That is harsh, but here's a rule of thumb. Whether it is true or ultimately false that a more compatible person is coming into your life, do not say that is the exact reason for why you're leaving your current lover. It will not justify ending the relationship because it will make the other person feel insignificant, lacking, and even worthless. Darren tries to console her by expressing Ginger's good qualities, but it's no use to make her refrain from sobbing and grieving over everything due to his discourteous actions. Minutes later, Darren visits Dodie in her room and tells her that the deed was done, but quickly he succumbs to the sadness himself. Dodie tries to dissuade him in favor of one of her magazines, but he is broken from the trauma that he's placed upon both him and his ex. That night, Dodie and Macy visit Ginger, but she is in real pain, not just emotionally, but physically, as she quotes,
I feel like my insides exploded.
They know things are too much for them to handle, so the other girls depart. When some time has passed, Lois comes to see her daughter after learning from her friends about the incident, but she does not respond. Lois is panicked by this and immediately calls her fiancé, Dr. Dave, to investigate, and he tells her that it's appendicitis that she's suffering, and they rush her to the hospital. Dr. Dave is determined to keep Ginger alive, who incidentally has slightly woken up from this trauma. Her alertness is only brief as they give her anesthesia and they barely save her from heavy bleeding in their repair. Then the audience is treated to a very dark and light vision. We see Ginger's life flash before everyone, from having her mother give birth to her, to Ginger taking her first steps, to swinging for the first time, and even a cameo of the marionette girl from the famous and She Was Gone episode from the previous season. But then it shows an odd version of a 20-something-old Ginger looking at a reflection of her 14-year-old self in a washing machine. What this seems to me is that she's seeing the person who she's wanted to be versus the person that she currently is, and is concerned that she will not grow to be the adult who she should be. And that's a dark moment for us because we all want to better ourselves, but we never know how much time we have left to do so. In the next scene, we are greeted with a surprising appearance to us and the characters. Ginger's genetic father, Jonas. He was widely denounced for avoiding Ginger's milestones in the past, but this time, he did not. Even more shockingly, Dave handles the situation of the ex-husband quite professionally, allowing Jonas to have private time with his 2 women.
I thought that nagging pain in the pit of my stomach was trying to tell me something about Darren. Turns out it was trying to tell me something about me. Ow, ow, better reclining.
Well, how's this?
Let's put a pillow right.
Oh, thanks.
We're so glad you're okay, Ginger.
At the same time, however, Carl runs over, horrified about Ginger's hardship, but when he sees Jonas in there, he starts something amazing. He starts to actively resent Jonas for how he abandoned him and his sister, and instead chooses Dr. Dave as his true father figure, holding his hand with pride. Meanwhile, in another unexpected event, Darren appears in the gift shop with his new girlfriend Simone, hoping to find a way to at the very least end things on good terms for Ginger. Darren understandably is so overwhelmed and flustered by this event that he starts breaking down again, believing that this trauma was all his own fault. But Simone comforts him.
I know how you feel, but this isn't your fault, Darren. It's just a really ugly, unfortunate coincidence. It's not your fault.
I feel like it's my fault.
I know you do, sweetie.
He tries to write a card to express his feelings, but the stress overcomes him to the point where he throws the card away and flees, believing that he's the last person whom Ginger wants to see in all this mess. Who we do see, though, Dodie, Macy, and even Miss Zorsky, the OG.
Oh, here's your get well song.
It isn't very long.
Boy, I never thought I'd say these words again, but Miss Zorsky, I'm glad to see you.
You didn't do all this just to avoid my cousin, did you?
No, getting to skip her class is just an added perk of being hospitalized, I guess.
During this time, Jonas and Dave have a solemn yet civil conversation about their girl. As Jonas is holding Ginger's sunflowers, he realizes his big mistakes in having abandoned his duties as a father for so many years, and he is willing to lose them as he sees that Dave will be the better man that Jonas could never have been himself. After all, Dr. Dave was the one to have saved Ginger.
I wanted to start out by saying that I know that it means the world to Ginger that you're here.
Well, thanks. That's nice of you to say so.
Yes, and I have no ill feelings towards you, and I can only hope that you'll feel the same way about me. I love them, you know. All of them.
So do I.
Of course you do.
Thanks, Dave, for what you did for Ginger. You saved her life. Something I never could have done. You're a better man than I am. Excuse me.
The solemnity grows larger as Carl exits the mini chapel, pulling away from his stance as an atheist and praying for his sister's health and well-being, and Lois has a brief heart-to-heart talk with him.
I thought you were an atheist.
Yeah, I needed a word with the big guy.
Look, Carl, I know what happened was scary for both of us, but your sister's gonna be okay. Honest.
Stress of recent events make you pick up your old habit?
Oh, no. It's for the man of the hour.
Dave doesn't drink coffee.
It's for your father, silly. Didn't you see? He filled Ginger's room with sunflowers. He even brought his guitar so he could sing to her.
Moments later, though, he's pacing around in the waiting room with Hootsie, and then Carl finally lashes out about, well, everything and gives us a shocking bit of banter.
Jonas? The man of the hour? Oh, is she kidding? What the heck did Jonas do, besides show up late like he always does? Dr. Dave was there when it happened, and Dr. Dave will be there when it's over. Dr. Dave is the one who saved Ginger's life, not Jonas. Why does he have to show up now and foul things up between Mom and Dave?
Who says he's fouling up things? Maybe he's just looking after Ginger.
Look, the man has a right to see his daughter. I just don't want it done at the expense of Dr. Dave.
Oh, no.
Then that night, Lois starts worrying about what would have happened had she not been at home for her daughter, but Dr. Dave assures her that she was in the right place at the right time. After all, she's a nurse, so she saved other people's lives as well. But then she starts to question if this fiasco has influenced New Replaced feelings about Jonas. But after a little bit of glancing for each other, Lois confirms that she will be loving Dr. Dave instead, and they kiss, and Carl smiles in the background.
Hey, he's not the man I'm in love with, David. You are.
Now that's romance.
The next day, Ginger is greeted by Orion, who then becomes greatly intimate for her. And as he leaves, Ginger finds the discarded card made by Darren.
Dear Ginger, I feel so helpless right now. More than anything, I want to be there for you, but I don't know how. In spite of everything that's happened between us, I just want you to know that...
Ginger is shocked that he tried to make amends, let alone write to her in such a genuinely apologetic manner, as us the viewers would be surprised to this as well, and we fade to black. A lot is to be unpacked here, and the first thing that I want to bring up is the main theme of the episode. It is amazing that Nickelodeon had an episode that would tackle such a dark topic as a life-threatening accident/surgery, because we commonly have seen more regularly serious issues in shows such as Moving Away, or the death of a parent, or even bullies. Here, though, they went so far to make the viewers actively worry about their protagonist's well-being, and rightfully so. This is arguably the darkest and saddest time for a young teen like her, and 3 writers, including creator Kapnick, wanted to make such an enticing event, so dark that you just have to see it. I was just amazed at how realistic the situation was with the responses by her parents and her friends. Another thing to be mentioned here is the character growth. While it was so astounding to see Carl emotionally mature from the realization of how bad of a father Jonas was to his family, much less to him, he also has a strong appreciation towards his sister, which would lead him to choosing Dr. Dave as his fatherly surrogate. Speaking of fathers, it was so refreshing to see Jonas realize his blunders and ultimately accept defeat in that Dave will be the better man in the family. He knows that while he could not have had the surgeon's skills to directly save his daughter's life, he could and should have had the heart to be there when things got emotionally hard for her and even Carl. Furthermore, there is even character growth for Darren and arguably Simone as well. Darren is immediately regretful of how he treated Ginger at the start of the episode, and he tries his best to make things right as he can. Even Simone understands the problem and tries to help fix things, but in the little time that he had in the hospital, he wrote an incomplete card that has the implicit idea that he still cares, as he would have finished it off otherwise. It's also refreshing to see another love interest who actually has very little against our protagonist Ginger. Had Simone been grudging her, she would not have convinced Darren to decide to express himself, and that's good character. While Simone is older than both of them, she is willing to understand such dark feelings and show some real respect. This episode was so beautifully crafted, and it is timeless. It doesn't do. It doesn't have the fathers fight over who loves Ginger more. It doesn't have Carl want the appendix for his bodily collection like we've seen in the first season. And it doesn't even have Darren show up in person to console Ginger, because it is more realistic that he'd shy away due to all the stress that he's had from receiving instigation and all of this. In fact, the episode is simply devoid of any comedy, and for good reason. These changes are very engaging for viewers young and old, and it makes me feel relieved that people in 2006 saw these massive perks when the episode was leaked online via foreign affiliates. Nevertheless, As Told by Ginger dared to do the impossible. Twice, if you count the aforementioned And She Was Gone, and they succeeded both times. They made a sad story so compelling that everyone can learn from it and have good faith in the characters and themselves. I hope you guys check this episode out the first chance that you get, because it is a great tearjerker story.
We need suction. She's hemorrhaging.
It's kinda sad, really. Guess I'm the sort who'll linger. When the credits roll, I still can't leave the picture. The picture I hold in my heart. There's a road that's left to travel. There's bridges left to burn. There's songs I haven't written. Lessons left to learn. There's reasons still to fight. There's you to kiss goodnight, so hold on tight. It makes me mad, really. Wish I could blame a twister or a hurricane or my pesky sister. Wish I could blame away this fear.